Greetings, my fellow passengers to the grave, as the prescient Dickens once called us. Thank you for coming to celebrate Yuletide, the most magical, mythical time of year. The Tombwatcher bells resonate with a sense of unlikely cheer that can for some time reign over a cold heart and restore all that has been lost to the year's tribulations and that now waits through the Helmeth door, where my comrades, Gravedigger and Glenn Cool, are regaling our audience just now with dramatic readings and pronouncements before the night's Yuletide cemetery tale.
Well, you know how winter is. Colder weather, colder thoughts, primitive urges that lay dormant on those cheery summer nights. This cold weather gets my appetite going. I get to thinking about the great Christmases of American lore. I think of the Donner Party and that wonderful Christmas they had. There's the famous George Washington Christmas, rowing across the Delaware on Christmas Eve. He knew you gotta do a lot of preparation for the holidays. My wife and I had sex in March because she wanted to do the traditional thing and give birth at Christmas. It's hard to say no when she's ready to go. Not that I didn't put in a little effort. My wife gets turned on by some nice pants and a slick outfit. Basically, she always gets turned on when I dress like someone else. I even dressed up like Santa Claus and surprised her. We went at it all night long. Then when I took my beard off, she said, "Oh, what, Glenn?" I'm sure a lot of people know that the human body contains about 5 quarts of blood. Well, how many quarts does it take to cover my kitchen floor? We found that out the hard way last weekend. So the kitchen's ready. But every Christmas we get the house ready. We get the family together. We dig up the kids and my wife's parents, sit around the tree. It can be a stressful time with the kids and my wife and all. I get so angry I'm swearing, and I'm sweating blood from my forehead. You ever notice how the more blood you see, the more blood you want to see? Our family, we eschew the commercial exploitation of the holidays. We like to get back to what Christmas is all about. Ritual sacrifice. Our kids love animals. So this year, my wife and I chopped up some of the livestock and put them in boxes. They're waiting under the tree. You know, no two snowflakes are alike. Just as there's no one quite like the Gravedigger. He absolutely loves this time of year. A time of great bounty for the money lenders, am I right, Gravedigger? And when else is he going to get a chance to boil a man in his own pudding, am I right? Ladies and gentlemen, Gravedigger is going to tell us the name of tonight's Yuletide tall tale of ticklish terror.
Well, Glenn, tonight's tale is The Colonel's Cask of Christmas Spirits.
Well, hello!
Come in, Forsyth. You cut a dashing figure against the brisk snow there.
Dear Montgomery! Oh, Aunt Gwendolyn, by the joyful sound of the festivities, I'd say you must have put together a Christmas party for the ages. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Greetings. And what festive clothing, Forsyth.
Thank you.
Delightful. What colors.
I'm a man of many fashions.
You raised the bar for all of us.
Allow me to take your coat, sir.
Oh, thank you, Monty. I'll let the bells ring out to call in Christmas. Let the caroling begin, am I right? Hey, Gwendolyn, has your sister arrived by any chance yet?
She has indeed. She's around here somewhere.
She is a sensational girl, and she has a mind and a form to match yours, if I do say so
Have some
myself.
food, buddy. We've got all kinds of sausage, my favorite ham, quail, Gwendolyn's famous bourbon balls, all the punch a man could dream of, and decadent cakes.
Oh, that sounds marvelous.
Venture forth. Enjoy.
Forsyth, come over here. I want you to hear this.
Yes.
Time and time again, I fret over the coming harvest, and time again, I remind myself that worrying will do no one any good.
Montgomery, these foods are amazing.
Forsyth, I haven't seen you down at the town hall lately.
And then the real fun begins when you're
I know,
down.
but I'm not Catholic anyway, are you?
Another Christmas has come. Isn't it wonderful? This truly is the best time of the year. And this time around, I've spared no expense.
Forsyth, a man who knows a thing or two about rye. How are you this season?
Oh, you know how it is this time of year. One thing after another, one party, one
See
trip
what
to
I have
church,
waiting for the family in the barn. If you promise not to tell them, I'll confide in you.
To discuss with you a couple of the finer points on our upcoming plans moving into the next phase.
Necklaces are fun.
I know, but this time I've really outdone myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight for our annual holiday celebration. Some of you we haven't seen in a coon's age, and others we've been seeing a bit too much lately. But all are welcome and will forever be. And we have so much to celebrate this Christmas. Our little town is growing and prospering. Our families are growing and prospering. And I want each of you to know that I am simply filled with gratitude tonight. And am humbled by the kindness and generosity and fellowship I sense in this room. Thank you all for making this a truly Merry Christmas.
You're the best, Gwendolyn.
Gwen, we need the recipe for this extraordinary party punch.
It's not the recipe that's important. It's the quality of the ingredients, Monty always says.
Hey, Monty, why don't you tell us a Christmas story?
A Christmas story? Haha. Well, I'd be happy to. A tale of Christmas long past, out in the Wild West. Back in the old days, my granddad fashioned himself as a trapper. And of course, there's not a lot of trapping going on in Kentucky these days. It was dried up back then, too. So he headed out with a gaggle of prospectors and trappers and people who consort with trappers one spring, equipped mostly with the wood lore in his head and the building skills in his hands, around 1824. And he and a group went way out on the old Missouri and beyond. When they got to a spot they liked to dig in for the winter, the group split into two factions. You know how trappers are, some good, some bad. Some folks wanted to build a quick, rickety, shoddy piece of shit compound, get to the more important business of hunting and trapping, enjoying the gifts of the forest. And dear old Granddad used to swear by this. He had an old raven, always perched on his shoulder, and they used to walk the grounds and talk about all manner of things. And he swears the raven, Charlie Coalfeathers he called him, advised him of the proper course of action. In this case, an old raven knows the weather far better than any human could. Charlie said, "Build your house strong or die beneath it." So my granddad and a few of his reluctant friends cabins agreed to build a longhouse, one that could withstand the careless winds of the wild Wyoming winter. So they built their strong house, a house of integrity, strength from the ground up. And sure enough, that Christmas Eve, the rain started coming down, and the wind howled, and the hail came a-charging down, hail the size of fists. Wind so hard the walls came down, snow so hard the roofs caved in. All the cabins and shanties were destroyed in the tumult, and the next morning, when my grandfather went to check on everyone, he found them in the most horrifying state that you could imagine. Some wailing, some screaming, some naked in violent ecstasy, some warming their hands and torn open guts of the dead, and some drinking the blood that ran in streaming red brooks from their bodies. They were in no mood for Christmas gifts and good cheer, and you know what blood drinking does to a man's mind. In the mania of this despair and the numbing rush of the cold, those wretched people attacked him. He retreated to the cabin, and the people laid siege, and he and his friends had to shoot down every last one of them. They spent all Christmas Day killing, and they did not stop until every one of their attackers was dead. Even the ones who tried to escape downriver, more than 37 dead. And they used the bodies to chum the waters all winter long. That grim day made my granddad tough, and it is what inspired him to want to build things, great things, formidable stone storehouses that could last the centuries. Not long after that, he returned to his beloved Kentucky and its rolling blue hills.
Didn't he grow a bit ambitious in his later years? I could swear I heard he was one of the architects of the Tower of Babel.
If you're referring to the town hall that fell down during the Great Storm of '49, then I grant you that is the case. A man's follies of his maturity must be tempered in our memories by the warm summer winds of his deeper past. As we now know, he built some of our favorite storehouses that we have in these parts today.
I'll drink to that, everyone. And please, remember me not as you know me now, but as the brash cad you knew last week.
I've already forgotten, Forsyth. Please, come over here and remind me. We have many things need talking about over here.
Don't stop the train of obscenities yet, Forsyth.
3 cheers for Forsyth in his new stone warehouse.
Aha, yes! 4 cheers, please.
Well, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
That storm of '49. Wasn't that the year Winter Creek grew over its banks and flooded Colonel Drinkley's barley patch?
Yes, it was. The old man died that night, trying to save the season's barley. The same night the town hall fell, and there couldn't be a more magnificent symbol of his passing. What a great man he was.
Cheers to that, Monty. Love that old man. I've heard so many stories.
Forsyth. Just the man I wanted to see. May I bend your ear just a moment? I wish to discuss something of great import.
But of course, Monty, what's on your mind?
Walk with me a moment. You might have heard that a handful of the old 46er Colonel Drinkley barrels were discovered this April down in the estate's old springhouse basements.
Well, yes, I heard about it, but I assumed it was just a wrinkly old tall tale. I haven't heard a peep about it since the rumor first went round last spring, I guess it was.
Well, then you'll be surprised to know that I believe I am in possession of one of those fabled and precious few barrels, even as we speak.
No. Monty, I am impressed and very excited. Where is it? Nice and safe, I trust.
Indeed. It's directly below us, waiting in my dusty old catacombs.
What are your plans for it? An imaginative man like you must have a great future occasion in mind. The marriage of a daughter, the birth of a son.
Well, I must admit, sometimes my patience runs out a little sooner than I expect it to, and my curiosity is burning like a house fire. Honestly, I want very much to know the veracity of the claims made about this old barrel. I have an incredulous nature, my dear friend, and that, along with a softness in my self-confidence, brings us to my proposition. You are already renowned in Clare County for the fine-tuning of your palate.
Well, you flatter me, Monty. Thank you. I do fancy that I have taught my taste buds and honed my sense of smell to a sensitivity beyond my years.
I wasn't sure you'd be interested in the Drinkly, since you seem to fix your gaze on the future rather than the past.
Oh, preposterous! Why, it is my love of the obscure vintages that informs and feeds my passion for future possibility. I know the style.
But you seem to be engaged. Off to a stimulating conversation, I'm sure. I'll ask Connor. He's a good mind for this kind of stuff.
Oh, certainly not. Now, Connor is a good man, but his pipe is packed with poppy, and he has not the olfaction for the job.
I don't want to trouble you as you are engaged. It's all right. I'll ask Connor about it.
Oh, come now, Monty. You'd like me to come along, wouldn't you?
Of course. I can think of no one I would rather have with me when I break the seal and breathe in the contents and hopefully find the proof of the treasure's identity on the tip of my tongue. I need you to confirm it. The old Colonel Drinkly, 46.
Well, Captain, what are we waiting for? I'm honored. Let's not waste another second.
My thoughts precisely. Follow me.
Yes. And after all that, after endless discussion, I convinced him to try just a bit of amaranth in his mash bill.
You did what?
Just a bit, not more than a smidge.
We don't use amaranth in Clare County. Don't you understand?
Of course, but isn't it wonderful? You see, I knew I had in me the possibility of offering something new, something innovative to give to these proud traditions, a statement for posterity.
My friend, posterity. No one will be singing your praises upon your departure from this life.
'Tis true. Isn't that the folly of man? To think that his life, his intellect, his contributions are worth a damn. Alas, I'd rather paint for myself rosy images of a limitless future than accept my post, being mere fodder on which future generations will stand. They're digging their heels in me without the slightest recognition that mine are the thoughts in their heads, the very ground beneath them. Of course, here we are on this earthen floor, those who pass before us murmuring to themselves without a care for what we fools do.
These festivities have you babbling like a madman, old chum.
'Tis the season for flights of fancy, I guess. I know. Let's really celebrate Christmas this time by sort of taking the next year off from our worries. You just enjoy and laugh. What do you say, huh? Yeah, we'll devote ourselves to the appreciation of the gifts our lives have already given us, and do nothing but good things, and seek our pleasures at our leisure, and only have fun. Isn't that the best idea I've ever had?
You think life is for fun, huh? Life is a grim trial, and you are failing. Now I see where your strange notions about bourbon arise. You suffer misconceptions at the very heart of the matter. Whiskey is a mere rude pleasure. We've wrested it from the animals and made it a respectable art.
But isn't it grand, that whole process? We have learned the art of waiting better than the animals. I mean, we make it, we wait, we drink it. We make it, we wait, we drink it. We're always cycling back around, and we, never know until the taste is just right there on our tongues. We're always hoping but never really know it.
That's the worst part of it, I suppose. The waiting. Waiting year after year for the nectar to mellow. Well, lately I grow tired of waiting.
You know, I'm surprised that I'm hearing you say this. You are the most steadfast man that I know.
Well, I try to be. I try to be that way more than half the time. I succeed. You know by now what I always say. Wait for autumn. And if you're lucky enough to make it that far, the proof will be waiting for you.
You know, in a way, I admire you and your refusal to acknowledge the advantages that the others are taking up there in Buchanan, beyond. They have economy of scale. It's something we haven't reckoned with down here in these parts, Monty.
Please call me Monty with a T, or preferably Montgomery.
Well, there's nothing wrong with wanting to excel and beat out the competition and get a little edge on the guys, is there?
Bourbon is not a zero-sum game, my friend. The waters of Winter Creek are sweet and rich, and give forth enough to quench the thirst of an entire world of whiskey lovers. The only threat we face is in tarnishing our glistening reputation here in Clare County. A mistake made by your family will most certainly reflect on my wives. Here, we are a community, and we help hold each other to the highest standard. You're a Turnberry man. You of all people should recognize that. All for one, one for all, eh?
Oh, yeah. You put me in the mind of those old Turnberry days, Monty, but... Well, hey, enough of this bourbon talk. Let me regale you with a school day story. It's gonna put a warm laugh in your belly and a cold shiver down your spine.
No, I mean, why, yes, I'd love to hear it. But first, here we are at our destination, and we have come to our first attraction. I have a surprise for you. Look there in the shadows beyond the barrel. I know how you love fanciful costume, as you've demonstrated time and time again this season. Here you'll find my old Santa Claus suit.
Monty. No.
Yes, yes. I want you to wear it.
Is that
Yes.
fabulous?
I haven't worn it in years, and it occurred to me today that it might fit you just right. Why don't you try it on?
I am delighted. Well, thank you, Monty. That's very thoughtful.
Yeah.
This costume says Christmas more than ribbon horses and sleigh bells, or hell, even Gwendolyn's wonderful chocolate bourbon balls. With this suit, I can finally embody all the great traits for which we admire Santa Claus so much.
Oh, all of them, yes. Well, at least one or two. And hear this. In that suit, you'll be the star of the show upstairs. Every woman will want to find a place upon your lap.
What a gift! Yes, all the women adore Santa Claus. He is the ultimate man. I will be such a man.
Oh, of course you will. If only women could fall like snowflakes. Am I right?
Well, really, I've taken a fancy to one of those snowflakes of late. Unique in every way. Your Lady Gwendolyn's sister, you've no doubt guessed by now.
Yes.
Tell me, Monty, you think she fancies me?
Yes. Surprisingly enough, I do. I had thought her a sensible woman.
Well, yes, did I, but that gleam of caprice in her eyes told me early on that there was something restless and rowdy in her somewhere. My curiosity was aroused.
She is an interesting woman. But I warned you. She can be girlish, even bellicose.
Well, perhaps I'm getting ahead of myself.
As you often do.
Yeah, but imagine, Monty, the fun we'd have if I began courting Gwendolyn's sister in earnest. And anytime the ladies spend alone together, we'll spend alone together. When the cats are away, the dogs will play, and we'll be hashing out our philosophical differences and exploring mysteries and whiskeys and the universe.
The thought has certainly occurred to me, Forsyth. In fact, many times.
Well, I'll be the best Santa Claus Clare County's ever seen.
Oh, of course you will. And see, there's more. I would like to give you this.
Something more? Monty, you are much too generous. I'm already beside myself with joy just due to this suit. What a clever trick. You had a second motive for bringing me down here.
Yes, a second motive. And a third. I have this for you. It's a bangle from India, like the one I gave to my wife when I was courting her at Christmas time. You can wear it while talking to her sister, and when she inquires about it, you can surprise her and give it to her.
Oh, that is charming, delightful. What a wonderful little idea.
Here, let me help you try it on.
Wow. Monty, seems this bracelet is tangled up in some kind of line here or something. I'm stuck.
Yes, you seem to be. I see it. There's a chain running from the bangle to the wall.
How queer. Please, just help me untangle it. I abhor confinement, even for a moment.
Just one moment while I fill this cup with the fabled drink. Here you are.
Thank you, Monty. Well, yeah, the taste is vibrant, but I wish to express to you all that I'm experiencing and in my taste, my smells, but please, first tend to this tangle.
Lack of patience, Forsyth? Not a good trait in a bourbon man.
Yes, well, maybe that's why I'm always coming up with the new ideas.
No, new idea. You want to burn the casks with a different fire, sing over the whiskey with different songs. It's a fool's endeavor. These old Clare County ways are written in stone. They're strong, like my grandfather's warehouses. They are the foundation of our very prosperous lives today. You think they didn't try a new fire in generations past? You do a disservice to yourself and to our ancestors.
Oh, you're angry with me. Are you upset about the heated discussion we had on that topic of amaranth?
I'm not usually so direct, but let me put this bluntly. I'm not here to talk about amaranth. Your ideas about rye are insane, and furthermore, bad ideas are like contagious infections. It's best to isolate them and root them out.
Oh, you jest, Monty. My passions for grain is an asset to this county.
My grandfather was sourcing rye from the Quakers long before our infant bodies crawled like serpents across the earth. We've all been in Clare County for 100 years. You didn't even spend your youth here. And you've been sniffing around my wife's sister like a dirty dog come in from the wet woods.
Well, Turnberry provided a good education and a bright outlook. You're held captive by these flowing fields and pastoral scenes.
No, my friend. The only captive is you. In the rolling hills of Clare County, I have discovered endless freedom.
You sell yourself short, Monty. You would relish the bustle of the city and thrive on its diverse activity and the free roll of opinions.
My good sir, you speak with the coarseness and directness of a New Englander. I find it damn near intolerable. You have no talent for euphemism. There's not a drop of poetry flowing in your blood. Why, what do you know of cornfields and rye bales when the annals of your memory are filled only with books and brick walls of the oppressive buildings of the city? Now that I've said my piece, allow me to tend to these bricks and mortar.
What you doing over there, Monty?
I'm laying these bricks
And why would you do that?
to seal you in this chamber.
How dare you? You seek to silence me with brick.
These are good bricks here, Forsyth. Old bricks. Bricks of integrity. My family has trusted this company's bricks for 3 generations now. Starting with my grandfather, the Anderson Brick Company. I highly recommend it. In my youth, I was not an idle schoolboy like you. No, my grandfather taught me the art of masonry, and my skills remain as fast as a winter storm to this day.
Well, how shall I busy myself if captive in this little chamber with this Colonel Drinkley barrel?
You can lick the moisture from the stones, and if you're lucky, you can snatch a rat now and then to sup upon. That is, if you get to them before they get to you. You can have them, as many as you like. I'll consider it a favor. First one you ever done for me. With your ingenuity, you might live a good long life down here, Forsyth.
You're a monster.
A monster sources rye from Buchanan, the most loathed of grain towns, where the water of the river flows bitter with the blood of the feuds. Detestable rye they have there, Forsyth. I'll report it back to you in 4 years' time when the barrels have matured. I'll confirm it.
How can you murder me on Christmas?
Oh, is that you, Forsyth? I could have sworn I was conversing with Santa Claus. He's immortal, you know, and nothing gets him down. He's got the kind of ingenuity that can handle any situation.
I want to be your friend. We're not so different, you and I. We share many of the same passions, share the same fears. I feel like we could help each other. We all need a bit of help in this crazy rolling billiard ball of a world.
I appreciate the image. It reminds me that I once witnessed you cheating at billiards. I suppose to you, the world is just a dull billiard to do your bidding. To me, it is a little round Christmas bell, and it rings when it is moved, unconscious of the mood or purpose of the event. And tonight, the cold silver chimes for you, my friend.
I love the bells of Christmas. They sound like the laughter of tiny little creatures. Alas, Monty, this Drinkley is phenomenally good.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Oh, this this is a great Christmas prank you're playing on me, Monty. I get it now. I suspect we're going to be laughing together about this night many Christmases on down the road over some glasses of Drinkley.
Yes, indeed we will.
Do you believe in fate, Monty?
I believe in free will. Free will in a world where Fortuna still reigns and can never ever be beaten.
It sounds as if you wish to absolve yourself of responsibility for this heinous crime you are perpetrating.
I will not be held responsible for the brash manners of a Turnberry man, or the rude advances of a rake, the strokes of a cheater, the boasts of a blockhead. Shall I continue?
Please do not. I cannot stand to be berated by a child at Christmas.
We are all Santa's children, my friend.
Yes, quite so.
The sound of your tears crashing against the tiny bells of your suit has a lovely musical quality.
Oh, that's just the whiskey Jocelyn, Monty. I seem to have overfilled my glass and it's spilling out the side.
Try not to waste it.
I shall. You remember You told me that one time about that little raven, Charlie Colfeathers, I think. And he said to your granddad, no man can summon wrath like Mr. Winter can.
Yes. That is a good Colfeathers.
I believe we found the man who can.
Thank you, Forsyth, for giving me that feeling of continuity with old times past.
Well, that's my favorite thing about whiskey, Monty. And when it's a good one, those flavors, they fill your head up, and you can swear that you know the taste, you know that smell of another place, another time.
You know, I'm going to miss you. Well, here's the last break. Listen to that, Forsyth. Those rats are becoming very conversational. I think you will all have a wonderful time together. Perhaps you can become chums before you inevitably turn on each other.
Well, I believe that I will shout like the devil and draw the ears of the revelers above. I want to be up there again in a Christmas paradise.
You hear that? The mighty bells of Christmas have come to bless me on this occasion. Christmas goes on with or without us, Forsyth. Don't you see? We don't much matter. Only Christmas does. And don't worry about the Colonel's barrel. You may have it for company. The barrels in that spring house were experimental, never meant for celebration or for criticism. It is best to remember the drinkly seasons, as they are now in our memory. Times of pleasure, times of devotion, times of excellence, times of integrity. Good night, Forsyth.
I like Montgomery. A good man. If it weren't for people like him, we'd have people like Forsyth running around willy-nilly all over the place. No thanks. I agree with Monty. And he gave Forsyth the gift of solitude. Something very nice to give to someone. Well, that story, it brings back so many strange memories for me. Warm Christmas memories. My Uncle Lewis would pick me up from the orphanage and introduce me to his new friends. We'd go to charity balls, stay up all night. It's where I really got my taste for meat. Well, old grave digger, would you like to say goodnight to our dear friends?
Good night to our dear friends.
Thank you, grave digger, for that and for everything that you do. Ladies and gentlemen, these are our confessions at the altar of love. And if music be the food of nightmares, let our friend Jolene Fibes continue the joy and gratitude with a good old-fashioned country Yuletide dirge of a lullaby. As she sings the souls of the cemetery to sleep on a sparkling, frosty night.
Wake you each night when I come home. Your soul is the wheat that I will reap as I wake up alone. Pale amaranthus over the town, on the path where the moonlight is lit. Darling, you know that the answer to a riddle like you is lie you back down in your bed. Praise for the Father, pity to the Son. You're sniffing at the east like a hound. Darling, you know that the answer to a riddle like you is to lie you back down in the ground.
Don't you hear them? The Tombwatcher bells ring out their ecstatic strains, arousing memories of innocence and hope. The bells ring out and recall a child's productive outlook, a joyful resignation as a leaf to the breeze. Do you remember, dear listeners, when you could have learned to kill?
Cemetery Tales. Produced by Bill Mitchell. Sound effects by Cyrus Cypress Hill Davis. Theme by Bill Mitchell. Sam Rutherford as Glenn Gould and the Tombwatcher. And Bill Mitchell as the Gravedigger.